easiest when the head is warm. To warm the head, one simple option is to take a regular cotton sock and fill it with rice, uncooked white rice. This is a extra long sock that my uncle gave me because he's a very tall person, and this is great for rooting toddlers. I can stuff so much rice in this. So I just use it for everything. We're going to heat the sock and the rice in the microwave with a glass of water. And this helps to prevent the rice from burning. And I think the rice probably absorbs a little bit of the steam as well to get the heat. The amount of time that you need to heat will depend on the strength of your microwave oven, as well as how much rice that you have. So start in 1 to 2 minute increments and take it out and check it often so that you don't burn your rice or overheat. Before you start rocking and rolling on the rooting, please take a look at my Rooting Ergonomics tutorial to help you set up your workstation in a way that minimizes repetitive strain injury. Okay, so I've got a nice hot sock here. If you notice steam or smoke coming off of your sock, it's probably way too hot to put in the doll and could cause some damage. So make sure that it's appropriately heated and not too hot before you put it in the doll. As you may recognize from my Rooting Ergonomics video, this is the bowl that I root all of my dolls in. It's got a rubber grip so it's not sliding around on the table. I've got some shelf liner in there for additional support, as well as a white napkin to protect the paint on the doll. And the way that I like to add the rice is actually to push it to the opposite end of the rice. Or opposite end of the sock, sorry. And then use that almost as a funnel to pour the rice into the head. Also helpful to use your finger to stuff it in. You want to have at least enough rice to fill up to the neck, and then you can stuff paper towels or washcloths or whatever you like in the remaining space. But the goal is to both heat the head as well as support the inside of the head so the vinyl's not buckling while you root. When you root, in addition to your needles and your hair, it's also important to wear an apron or a smock or put a towel in your lap or something, because you're gonna get hair all over your clothes and that's pretty uncomfortable. Also, it's good to have one of these lint roller things because the hair is literally gonna be everywhere, and this helps you to clean up between rooting sessions so you're not tracking hair all over your house or workshop. So Elizabeth is a fun project because she actually has highlights. She has 2 different colors of hair. So it's auburn, which I've honestly never rooted before in a baby, and ash blonde. So I'm just cutting a loose these hairs for now. And I think I might see a little dark brown in it, but we'll start with these 2 for now. Not dark brown, light brown. Okay, these are ruby red. If you are interested in sampling different kinds of mohair, I do offer a hair sampler on my website. I'll put a link to that in the description of the video if you're interested. So for these highlights, I'm gonna go ahead and grab, I'll do 50-50 for now. So I'll grab some of the blonde, I'll grab a little bit of the auburn, and as I said before, make sure that you're always rooting from the end that was bound, or the short end, I guess, of what was bound. I'm gonna detangle these a little bit, and actually, I'm gonna clip off the end so it's even. This is gonna make it easier to pull your hair out as you root. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for, right? So as you recall, we're gonna root in the direction of the hair growth pattern that we drew yesterday. So I'm always gonna be angling my needle in a way that's parallel with these lines. So as I go around, the needle is going to change direction. In order to do cuticle aligned single strand rooting, I need the hair to be as straight as possible on the rooting end. Mohair, like human hair, will tolerate flat ironing. Just be careful not to burn the hair to a crisp. All right, so let's root. One of the principles of lightning fast rooting, which is another video that I owe you, is to minimize distractions and processes that cause you to root slower. One of those distractions, or one of the things that'll slow you down, is having to keep changing the head. So some people will root in a circle and they'll just keep rotating the head around and around and around as they go, which is fine, but I find it a lot easier to root in strips. So I'm minimizing the number of times that I have to rotate the head. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and root. Here we go. So I tested a few different needles and I found for this particular mohair and this particular vinyl, the 42 gauge crown needle works pretty well. So the gauge indicates the width of the needle itself, and then whether it's a crown needle versus a regular needle indicates how many barbs you're gonna get. So a 42 gauge regular, for instance, would have 6 barbs, typically. This one has 3, which works well because this hair is really, really fine. So I can use a very tiny needle. Tiny needles have shallower barbs. So this would not work on human hair because human hair is very large diameter, whereas mohair is really tiny. In general, you want to use the smallest needle that you can so that your holes are nice and small and are not noticeable. Excuse me, to the customer. So as always, I'm just grabbing a little bit of hair out of the lock and using my needle to grab a couple of strands and force them in. I'm rooting it pretty thick on top because that's where the bulk of her hair is, and then we can do it a little bit finer elsewhere. Now, it's very difficult, I'm finding, to do individual strands of the ash blonde because it's just impossible to see. So I think I'm going to be getting a couple of strands of ash blonde in most of my hair plugs. And that's okay, it doesn't look fluggy because it's very difficult to see against the scalp. You may also notice that I'm kind of alternating between the two colors. Since I'm holding them both at the same time, it's convenient to do that. Just trying to keep a good ratio of red hairs to blonde hairs. It's looking very pretty. I feel like we just reinvented the wheel on strawberry blonde. But it is very pretty. And I do like rooting highlights a lot. It adds more dimension. So hopefully you can see that I'm still rooting directionally, so I'm still pointing my needle in the direction of the guidelines that we drew. Even though I'm not rooting on the guideline, I'm rooting in between two guidelines, and that helps me to know which way I'm going. And I'm rooting across the strip because it allows me to work on hairs that are all pointing in the same direction. If your hair is starting to get in your way, you can always brush it down. You can also use water to kind of stick it to the head, but since I have a chalk guideline, I don't want to wet the head and risk losing my guidelines, because we spent a lot of time drawing those yesterday. Need to protect them as well as possible. Your chalk lines may wipe off over time, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. You can see they're getting pretty faint over here. If your hair gets too frayed and you can't quite see where the strands are, if you can afford to, it's convenient to snip those raggedy ends off, so you always have a clean edge to pull hair from. Okay, I just flat ironed a new lock of hair. a little bit of the blonde and a little bit of the auburn. I'm going to trim the end off so I have a straight edge to root from. Well, Mrs. Butterfingers dropped her rooting needle. And now it's not going to be of any use to me, because from here it's only going to break off and cause trouble. So, good thing I buy them by the ounce. Let me know if you have any questions. And as always, thank you so much for reborning with me. I'll see you next time.